This is Matthew Fox, and you're listening to the official Lost podcast on abc.com.
Hello, and welcome back to the official Lost podcast hosted by abc.com. Last week, we asked you, the listeners, to help us choose a theme music for Damon and Carlton. And you responded. We'll have those results for you later in the podcast, along with executive producers Damon Lindelof and Carlton Hughes, as they get us ready for this week's Adventure Dave, which airs Wednesday, April 5th from 9 to 10 p.m. on ABC. First up, though, we have a special interview with Matthew Fox, a.k.a. Foxy. A few weeks ago, we chatted with executive producer Brian Burke, where he revealed that Matthew Fox's character wasn't supposed to live very long. Jack, of course, has so far managed to avoid the proverbial axe. In any case, we decided to get Matthew's reaction to his character's last-minute reprisal of execution.
Well, honestly, I didn't come to the project until after they'd already changed their mind on that. The script that I read, and nobody, when I met JJ and Damon, the script was top secret. Nobody was being allowed to read it really in the business because they wanted to keep it really under wraps. And I met them right on the spot. JJ said, "Do you have time to read the script?" And he actually threw me into an office there at Disney, and I read the script. And that script was the script in which Jack didn't perish in the second act. Damon and JJ, told me that there was a version about 2 weeks earlier than that where Jack basically dies where the pilot dies.
Jack, come on! Just leave me!
And that they had handed that script off to their sort of inner circle, which JJ and Damon both do, to get feedback, and everybody said sort of unanimously, you can't kill Jack in the second act. JJ thought at the time it would be really interesting, and he's always looking for new ways to surprise audiences, I think, and to sort of break the normal structures of the way stories are told, and to have the story open on Jack Shephard's eyeball, and you immediately get the feeling that sort of that's your perspective into the show is through this guy, and you're set up to feel like, oh, here's our guy that's sort of our everyman hero, and to have him get knocked off in the second act would have been phenomenally surprising, and most people that read the script just said you just can't do it.
Did you see it?
No. It was right behind me when I dove into the bushes.
Early on, Damon Lindelof and I started talking about Jack and about who he was and sort of what some of that backstory with stuff would be. And I don't know if it was because of those conversations, but it actually, a lot of, most of the backstory stuff that Damon has solidified for me has fallen right where I expected it to fall. And I think that's a tribute to sort of how we kind of communicate through this guy. And we both have very closely matching ideas of who he is, what makes him tick, and why he does what he does. And so that's a really cool process that the two of us go through when we talk about Jack and share our ideas, and sort of the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, I think. And film storytelling in general is a very collaborative experience between a writer, a director, an actor, and it works best when the sum of all of those parts is the whole is greater than the sum of all those parts.
Just as the show is greater than the sum of its parts, so is Matthew Fox, which is why we thought it was important to find out who his favorite bands are.
Boy, some of the new stuff that I'm listening to, the Arcade Fire album I think is just absolutely amazing. I listen to a lot of Sigur Rós. I'm huge fans of theirs. I listen to a lot of punk. I'm kind of a little bit all over the place with music. Modest Mouse, I Am Clute, There's a new band from Austin, Texas that I like an awful lot. They have a full-length debut album coming out. They're named The Black Angels. And so, yeah, I listen to a ton of different stuff and I enjoy music very, very much. It's an important part of my life.
So there you have it, Matthew Fox's favorite music. And now here are executive producers Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse, along with the results from the theme music contest, which you voted for.
Hello, this is Carlton.
And Damon.
And here we are to talk about... what are we talking about today, Damon?
I think we're talking about this week's exciting new episode of Lost that is entitled Dave.
Dave. Before we get into Dave, do you want to...
I do. Before you finish asking that question, I desperately want to.
What was the promo that said there were 5 major revelations that came out in lockdown? Should we talk about what those 5 revelations are?
We should do it like the prices.
Okay.
I don't know, like
Revelation number 1.
Family Feud.
Damon,
the first shocking
number 1 revelation would be...
Survey says, I'm going to go with the fact that Henry Gale is in fact another, or at the very least, lying about the fact that his name is Henry Gale and that he came in a balloon and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
I'd say that's got to be number 1.
Okay.
What do you think?
I would say... I would say number 1 actually is the map. I mean, the map is...
That's a pretty significant
That's pretty big. I mean, you've got all the Dharma stations on there. It appears to be all the Dharma stations. You've got these vents. You've got all sorts of text, which people on the internet have already wildly deciphered.
Some accurately, some not so accurately.
Right. That's a pretty big revelation. So that's 2.
That's 2. I guess another one would be that this palette of seemingly food with Dharma Initiative labels on it has fallen from the sky. At least there's a very large parachute attached to it, so that's a fairly significant revelation. So that would be 3.
Number 4, how about that there are blast doors in the hatch? They come down, they crush Locke's leg.
Yes, that's a revelation, I guess.
So
I saw it in the promo, so it wasn't that big of a surprise.
But, actually seeing them actually all come down and trap Locke underneath there, and the fact that they exist, and we don't know why they're there yet.
Yeah, why do you think that whole lockdown happened in the first place?
Exactly.
Do you think there's a causal relationship between the lockdown and the pallet of food?
I do.
That's interesting. I hadn't really thought of that before right now.
No, really. Surprise.
So what is the 5th revelation?
What is the 5th revelation?
That Jack is really good at poker, I think. I don't even know what the 5th is. I'd like to ask whoever put that promo out there.
Maybe it's that Nadia was in the episode, Saeed's girlfriend from Iraq, and that she crossed with Locke.
Oh yeah, I guess that's fairly
as the home inspector.
Yes, Locke inspected Nadia's home.
So
that's number 5, I think, on the litany of interesting.
It would be more like number 10 on a list of 5.
Yes, or 12.
Exactly.
But more pressing though than anything we could ever say about Lost is what are the results of our theme song? I have to tell you, Carlton, I've been losing a lot of sleep the last couple of weeks, sort of hoping and praying that it would be number 4.
Chris,
and now finally the answer will be revealed to us in as dramatic a fashion as possible.
Chris, would you cue the new theme song for our Lost podcast, please?
And it's number 4.
Are you sure it's number 4?
I know number 4.
You know werewolf music when you hear it, don't
exactly.
you?
Actually, I think the new contest should be we have to title the show about the talking car that is driven by a werewolf.
Exactly.
And he fights crime.
That's good. We'll work on that. Maybe you guys could send in your suggestions for our
there's got to be
crime-fighting
sort of
werewolf
catchy
talking
title.
car
Yeah,
gun-shooting show.
How about Carnivore?
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. That is good. So number 9, number 10. I guess I can throw my maracas away. That one didn't work.
Yeah.
The audience didn't go for that. I know there was some vote stuffing and ballot stuffing that was going on, but
why are you pointing your finger at me right now?
I know you were actually secretly. You said you wanted 4, but you really wanted number 10.
You just didn't want to throw your maracas away. Well,
all right.
I think it's good for the entire writing staff that you finally have because. Let's face it, Mexicali Fridays with Carlton is just not as exciting as it once was.
So, Dave's coming up, Damon. That's what's coming up this week.
Yeah, that's an exciting episode.
Why is it called Dave?
It's called Dave because Evan Handler is an enormously talented actor who we've been a fan of since Sex and the City and The West Wing, and he plays a character named Dave, and I assume from what I've seen in the commercials that he is appearing in this episode on the island somehow.
Right.
And
he's a friend of Hurley's in some sense. Or he knows Hurley.
I would ask you, Carlton, if we haven't seen him before on the island, what is he doing there?
Maybe he got lost.
Maybe he did. Well, I'll be tuning in to find out.
Okay, well, I will too. I think it's... we really like this episode a lot, and there's some pretty interesting twists and turns in it, and we are looking forward to your guys' reaction to it.
And Jorge is actually quite stupendous in this episode, so...
yes, it is a Hurley flashback episode.
It is indeed. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Well, good.
Even though I've already seen it.
Many times.
Many times. It keeps getting better, though.
Well, anyway, so let's buzz on to some... should we buzz on to some questions here, Damon?
Yeah, I would love to, Carlton. Why don't we? Would you like to start?
I would love to start here. This is a question by Andrew Dashko. Hello, you guys. I'm from Latvia. I really enjoy watching the show.
Carlton, will you please read this question in an accent, with your Latvian accent? No.
Hello, you guys. You know, my family's actually from Latvia.
Is
Actually,
that true?
I have yes, it is. It's true. I have, although I
Isn't Dr. Doom from Latvia?
yes.
I think he is.
He is from Latvia.
Or Latveria. One of those two.
Latvian.
They probably get confused.
Hello, you guys. I am from Latvia. I really enjoy watching the show and enjoy listening to your podcasts. He's not going to be very happy with this accent. It's a very, very bad Latvian accent. It's not even Latvian. It's just...
I'm not the one who asked you to do it.
You did! In fact, you actually did.
So I did. All right.
I would be very glad if you could answer some of my questions. Even one answered question would be great. Please excuse me for possible grammar mistakes because my mother tongue is Russian.
Mother Tongue is the name of my band from high school. Sorry.
Does anyone ever thought that if Walt, W-O-L-T, has a chance to have a chat with Michael, the others that have the same kind of computer, to give more facts, they must be connected to have this kind of chat? So does anyone think that the others know about the numbers, or even maybe have to type them every 108 minutes, or maybe they even know what happens when you don't type in the numbers? So how can this be true?
That was quite possibly the most introspective question that I've ever been asked regarding Lost. And although...
There are subtitles I have here for that question.
Essentially, I think it's a very interesting theory that the others might have access to a computer. Obviously, we are led to believe that Walt is IMing Michael, so one would assume that he is at another terminal elsewhere on the island. And but, when it comes to Lost, I guess anything's possible. If you can send us that email from Latvia, who knows?
He goes on to ask, when Locke ran out of time to type the numbers into the computer and the timer showed a bird, a rocket, and something else.
Is that a question?
When Saeed was torturing the Henry in the armory.
Yeah, this is just going from bad to worse.
Right after that, Claire's baby got sick.
Right.
So did the bird and the rocket have anything to do with why the baby got sick?
No.
Okay.
No, they didn't. It's a rocket.
That clears it up. Is that a rocket?
I love that
we actually thought they were Egyptian hieroglyphics.
That
but
the ancient Egyptians actually had a symbol for rocket ship.
Yeah, well, the NASA program actually started in Cairo in the year 2243 BC.
Carlton, I'd like to move on with a much simpler question by Quiverwing.
Well, that's a good start right there.
Carlton, what are the other 30 or so people doing all the time? Why are they here? Are they never interesting enough to be involved in the island activities?
That's a really good question. They really aren't, actually.
They're not that interesting.
They're every time we think they're going to be interesting, they just turn out not to be very interesting. But they're very busy. They're raking the sand, and they're sorting leaves, drying fish,
occasionally gathering around for a speech by one of the characters that is interesting.
Exactly.
There is one guy that's interesting, Neil Frogert.
Neil Frogert, yes, he's coming up.
Yeah,
you'll be seeing a little. Well, you'll be hearing more about Neil.
Yeah,
soon.
exactly.
But Neil is someone who's...
we got to get to Neil.
You know, it is possible that these guys can show up in the show. I mean, Dr. Arts emerged out of the chorus last year, and
that's true. He was interesting.
He was very interesting.
He was especially interesting when he exploded. That was the best part.
So, yes. So, there will probably you'll see some more.
I'm feeling like we're not really vibing today in the podcast. What's wrong? What's going on?
I don't know, man. Is there something wrong? Do you want to talk about it today?
I don't know.
Is this because instead of the podcast, you wanted to go across the Disney lot and cut Mickey's hand off on the topiary over there?
I did want to do that, and you said that it was a quote-unquote bad idea. So, you know, I'm a little bit...
You're a little down today, aren't you?
So we apologize.
We actually are working kind of hard on trying to write the season finale, and we're a little tired, actually.
That's exactly what it is. We've got to get our mo.
Exactly. So, hey, Damon.
Yes, Carlton.
I'm really looking forward to a new episode this Wednesday.
Wow. Are you reading a question from a fan, I hope?
It says, question to Damon to be read by Carlton in his Sunday Times 3 announcer voice.
Okay.
Here's my burning question for you, though. A couple of days ago, someone on a Lost fan side leaked this super cheesy fan fiction-esque procedure video for the Dharma station called The Goblet.
The Goblet.
This atrocious acting in the video, as well as its close parallel to the video in orientation, have most of us discriminating Lost viewers crying, phony, phony, phony! But I was curious as to whether A, you had seen it, B, you had not seen it, or C, if you had anything to say about it. P.S. Tell Emily I said hi.
Okay, I will tell Emily you said hi. And the answer is B, we have not seen it, but
it's fake.
Based on your review of the atrociousness of the acting, we will probably avoid it. But we actually encourage the fans to do stuff like that. It's awesome that they are creatively activated by the show. So more power to them is what
Excellent.
I say.
Excellent. But we would not have a Dharma station called The Goblet. Well, that's it for today.
Wow.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you soon. Bye.
We'll be better next time. I'm sorry.
Thanks again to everyone who voted on favorite themes. Remember, you can find more Lost goodness and submit your own fan questions at lost.abc.com. Dave airs Wednesday, April 5th from 9 to 10 p.m. on ABC.